BetRivers. I'm doing well. I'm Kai. Jim, Matt, back as always. Man, this slate rocks today. We're going to talk about a ton of games, talk about a ton of good games. But first, yesterday, Jim, did you see anything fun yesterday? Or rather, did you see anything annoying yesterday?
Well, I saw plenty of both, Kai, to be quite honest. But the thing that stood out to me most was I turned on Cleveland State and Purdue Fort Wayne with about 5 minutes left in regulation, thinking I was just going to see, hey, is Cleveland State going to pull it out or not? I ended up tying up basically half my night watching 3 overtimes of complete insanity. This is very much a Stefan game, Kai, because this game had everything. Had a Chris Webber timeout technical. It had a lane violation on a potential game-winning free throw. It had 2 missed game-winning free throws. It had game-tying threes at the end of regulation and double overtime to go to triple overtime. And then finally, of course, at the end of triple overtime, there was a bench warmer who hadn't yet played, came in and buried a game-tying three.
Yeah, that was bananas.
I'd never heard of the guy, and I've heard of like 12 different Cleveland State players, and this guy was beyond even my realm of recognition. So it was an insane game. It led SVP. It was his best thing he saw all day. So that tells you a regular season Horizon game. That's how crazy it was.
And I believe so. They played a crazy game last year in the tournament as well. And then also in that game, Matt, Dennis Gates benched Hodge, right?
That's right. Benched our
best player.
And Patton. They're 2 best players.
And Patton. They're literally the 2 best players. Yeah. It's funny, like we preview Cleveland State, and it's like the one team where you have to mention like the entire roster because they all play. And then there's probably like the guy who made that shot is the one who didn't get mentioned in my preseason Horizon roster. Such as it goes. Kai, the Atlantic 10 is where my takeaway is. This league's getting really interesting. Obviously, the SLU St. Bonnie rematch was the headliner of that league last night, but Dayton quietly getting the sweep of Rhode Island thrust them into 10-3 in the league overall, just a game back at Davidson. We love VCU. We love the Billikens. I think we're turning a corner on the Bonnies. And Richmond's still there as well. And Georgia, just a good league. I think it's going to be an awesome A-10 tournament, and I'm kind of fascinated to see how these matchups shake out down the stretch, especially as we get more of these rematches the latter part of February and early March.
It's good, but they still need like 1 or 2 to separate themselves to get more than
right. I know it's too muddied at the top. Like it's going to just do the whole league a disservice when like all of them just missed as opposed to like 2 or 3 put themselves in better position. That's a good point.
Yeah. Cleveland State, maybe one of the worst beats of the year if you had them. Another really bad beat was Oregon, up 9 with 40 seconds left.
Yeah,
at the free throw line.
At the free throw line, horrible.
And then they didn't cover minus 3.5 with 40 seconds left. Tough. Hey, that's betting. That's gambling for you. Let's start off with an awesome slate. Villanova at Providence leads us off. Matt, John Fanta, our boy, says this is the biggest game ever at the Dunk because a win by Providence puts them in really good position to win their first ever Big East title. How do you see this game playing out?
Well, if Fance is going to make such a profound declaration, who am I to push back on that?
They're both top 10 in the AP
top
poll.
10.
I think it is.
The AP poll is such a foreign concept to me. I can't believe Providence is ranked top 10, but all I do is win games, Kai. So we can do the whole, they're overrated, they're fluky, but the odds makers are onto it. And I think everyone who watches this show is smart enough to realize that Providence is good, not great. And I think they're being priced appropriately. They're catching 4.5 at the Dunk. Yeah. I think the line's pretty sharp, Jim. I think the key thing on both sides here is that both backcourts are banged up. Mentioned that Villanova was hurt over the weekend. I think that did kind of shine through in that effort against Seton Hall. Gillespie and Moore are still not 100% from what we've been told, but also Al Durham, Jim, on the Providence side, has been playing through injury as well. And they're not super deep in the backcourt, even with Biden back there. So those two, who's healthier, who plays more effectively, I think that's the key because up front, the way Dixon and Watts have been playing, that's going to be the battle of big boys.
Yeah, so I love that matchup. The part that scares me for Nova is that Providence has Croswell to throw in. Like they've got like waves of guys to throw Dixon, where it's pretty much just Dixon. He's kind of on his own, on an island on the inside there. This is very much getting framed as analytics versus eye test. Like the predictive rankings love Villanova, but Providence just wins games. So depending on which side of the farm you stand on there, people are saying this line is crazy one way or another. Although I guess predictively it only has Ken Pom has Villanova -3. So
I stand with the nerds, by the way. I'm with the nerds on that one. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I like you said, Matt, I think this line is very sharp. This is like exactly what I made it. I'm not betting a side in this game. Kai, another John Fanta stat here. He tweeted this out. Since 2013-14, only 2 power conference coaches have won 60% of their close games or overtime games. So within 6 points or less or overtime, Jay Wright and Ed Cooley. And now they go head to head tonight.
Love it.
It's kind of like a immovable object meets, or what's that? Something like that. Whatever that
Unstoppable force meets immovable object. Yeah,
Thank you. Unstoppable.
It's like the sum of the parts greater than the whole. Yeah, it's always.
Yeah. And Jared Bynum's been incredible. Big East Player of the Week 2 straight weeks. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, his shot making against Georgetown was ridiculous. I'm not sure Providence passes my eye test as a top 10 team. The AP poll, I have no idea who's ranked on a week-to-week basis. I don't care. But I do know Providence has gotten some fortune, and I know their fans hate when people say that, but it's true. They just survived overtime against Javon Freeman Liberty, less DePaul. They're not a juggernaut by any means. Villanova's a superior team here, Matt, but at the dunk in such a huge get-up spot here, 4.5 seems like a lot of points. And I will remind people of Providence's in-conference defense. 30% from 3, 66% from the free throw line. Opponents were shooting against them. Nova's the best free throw shooting team in the conference. That's going to change tonight. Next game, Kentucky at Tennessee. Wow, this one got second billing from old Kai here on the rundown sheet. Kentucky, Jim, is now up to number 3 in KenPom, and they're knocking on the door of a 1 seed. Game 1 was a beatdown. Does Kentucky do it again?
I don't think it's a beatdown, but I think Kentucky wins, and it's my best bet. So, how about that spoiler? Kentucky plus 1.5. Now, obviously, Ty Washington, questionable, may not play. Matt, that's almost good. Here's how I'll spin it good. Because in their previous 2 biggest road games at LSU and at Auburn, Ty Washington got hurt during the game, and Kentucky had to adjust. So maybe the fact that they actually don't have him from the jump, they're going to play more of that style. They know they can't rely on him. I kind of like that. And I don't fully trust Tennessee yet. It's just, I'm not quite there yet, Matt, especially with Kamwa out. I think Shibwe just completely dominates inside. Sorry to Mr. Fulkerson, but he's had a kind of a dismal year. So I'm going with Kentucky. Matthias, I know you're a Vol guy. So are you going to talk me off that ledge?
No, I'm not, because you talked about the potential advantage that the Cats have up front. And preseason, we would have thought that Tennessee is one of the few teams that has the enforcers up front to combat Kentucky's size, but that's been their weakness. Like, the strength of this Tennessee team, like, if you've not watched them, it's their guards. They are electric. Ziegler and Chandler and Vescovy more is kind of a game manager, change of pace type guy. They've been great. Starting to get some production from my guy JJJ on the wing, but up front, Fulkerson has been a nothing burger. And that's where I think they get beat up tonight, even without Kai. Haha. See, I did there. Kai. Anyway, I have no takes on the side. Do we have a take on the total? Kai. Just kind of like a 3 when it wasn't that funny.
I don't know. The total, I mean, obviously game 1 went 186 points.
Like 500 point game. Is insane.
Kentucky played a perfect game. 1.47 points per possession, 71% from 2, 61% from 3, and 20 for 21 from the free throw line. It doesn't get any better than that. That was at Rupp. This swings to Tennessee. I don't know if the Vols can stand up to Shibwe. I think they can, man. I think their size, it's really about their physicality and their athleticism throughout the roster, which makes me think they can stand up to Kentucky here. I think we see a good effort at home. I'm scared about no Kamwa. I'm surprised this line hasn't really moved since the opener. I like Kentucky as well, Jim. I lean their way. Good. Texas at Oklahoma. The Red River rivalry. Wow, so exciting.
Call it the shootout.
Red River.
It's like when you call the Xavier Cincinnati, you don't say rivalry, you say shootout. They get really mad about that. So you got to say shootout. Yeah. Crosstown shootout, Red River shootout.
Both are technically correct. It doesn't matter. Texas at Oklahoma. We didn't get the Texas effort, Matt, that we expected against Baylor. They allowed 1.23 points per possession. They allowed 80 points, which I think is their season high. And they lost once again. They get a much more docile offense in Oklahoma, a team they just beat by 14 in January. Your side.
Boomer Sooner.
+1.
And I'm going to go, that's where I'm at tonight, folks. I'm going to go against my take on Villanova Providence when I said I stood with the nerds on the eye test versus analytics. Analytics seem to like Texas way more than my eyes lead me to believe. And Oklahoma, while still rated fairly highly in the analytics, I think has actually impressed me the last couple of games. I watched the Kansas second half. That defense is stifling. I mean, with Harkless and Goldwire, especially Goldwire down the stretch, like a ton of big ball shots to keep them in that game. I like the way this OU team's trending. And I know the talent's a little bit depleted. Like you look at that roster and they don't really have like an elite shot maker, except when our boy Mo Gibson is white hot, which he certainly can get. But I think they can grind and they can scrap. It's like the vintage Porter Moser type of recipe. And I think at home, Jim, where Oklahoma has historically played very well, especially in big hype conference games, I think they get it done. I'm fading Texas tonight.
I mean, yeah, we've kind of been down talking Texas a little bit recently on here on this program, but I'm kind of with you. And Oklahoma obviously played up. They beat the program that Beard left. They got that huge win against Texas Tech last week. I think Texas Tech's a little better than Texas. So if they can win that one, I think they can get this one too. I like that big home spot. They're right around the bubble. They need it. It's important to them. I kind of like the under as well. Texas has flown over recently. Their offense has been a little more efficient. Defense has been lacking, but I think this one's going to be a little bit of a street fight, Kai, low possession game. Hopefully some bricky shot making. If we can get lucky, we'll see. But yeah, that's what my favorite play in this one would be more the under than a side.
Yeah, in game one, Oklahoma struggles 1 for 13 from 3. That's obviously not usually a repeatable thing. But Texas athleticism, Matt, I think does bother Oklahoma. They're much more talented too, Texas. I don't think that's deniable at all.
Yeah.
I think their defense can shut down the cut heavy Moser half court offense. I actually lean Texas here. I know it's going to be a good crowd. I know OU is desperate for a win to stay in the tournament hunt, but I lean towards Texas. I think they're quite a bit better here. And that's no disrespect, Matt, to your boy Porter Moser. Next game, Big Ten. Wisconsin at Indiana. Matt's alma mater. How exciting. The Hoosiers are favored by 3 points, Matthew. And Wisconsin has dropped 12 spots in KenPom just by that loss at home to Rutgers. Still 10-4 in the Big Ten. Pretty solid. Matt, your Hoosiers, they've lost 3 straight. What do you think?
I'm not backing them. I think this is like an all-time awesome spot. And I think the price is actually pretty cheap, catching or laying only 3 to a Wisconsin team that seems to be, I wouldn't say in a hard regression, but definitely finding its level, so to speak. Jim can add more on the Buzzcut Badgers. I know that's his turf. I've watched this Indiana team a lot. I've read way too much of the deep, dark web forums, and it does not read well. I think there is some internal stuff that's going on, maybe some residue from the Northwestern smoke weed gate in Chicago. But yeah, exactly. I was not there for the record. I know people are accusing me of enabling such activities. I was not a part of that. Want to quell those rumors right now. But yeah, Kai, just in general, I put IU on my no bet list right now. I just don't like how they're playing. The body language rubs me the wrong way. And those roster imbalance issues that we talked about for the early part of the year, the lack of a pure point guard, the lack of consistent, steady guard play, the Jekyll and Hyde nature of all these supporting cast dudes, don't like it. And even at home gym in a good spot, not trusting it.
Yeah, well, Matt, home hasn't really been that kind to the Hoosiers against the Badgers.
Yeah, it's not even that good this year. Right?
A safe place. The last 10 meetings, Wisconsin is 7-3 overall, 8-2 against the spread, 7-3 straight up at Indiana. They're not afraid of Assembly Hall. It's been a little bit closer lately. Archie Miller actually kind of evened that out. But Bo Ryan owned Tom Crean. Like that was very
complete
much,
and utter domination.
Obviously, new eras here. Guard versus Woodson in his first year, so you don't want to take too much from that historical lens. But I know Brad Davidson's not going to be afraid walking into Assembly Hall. I'm leaning towards Wisconsin. I think this is a coin flip game. Not super terrified of the home. And getting 3 points with Indiana's potential chemistry issues, Kai, I'm a badge guy tonight.
Hey, IU 11-4 against the spread this year at home. They've been very good. Assembly Hall, rocking, baby. But Wisconsin, this is a tough opponent to play at home. They're old. They're poised. They don't get rattled very easily. And they have Johnny Davis still. I know Johnny Davis has struggled a little bit, a couple of games here. He's still one of the best players in the country. Tough to stop. Is Tyler Wall the perfect guy to put on Trace Jackson Davis? I'm curious how he handles him. Maybe not as strong, but man, I think he can match up pretty well with TJD if they decide to go that route. Matthew, your thoughts on that? Maybe not. Crazy.
I just am more again from the IU lens. I don't think we're optimizing TJD. I'm kind of sorry. Everyone hates when I say we talk about my alma mater. I don't like how IU is optimizing TJD. I mean, Race Thompson has been this team's best player for like the better part of the last month or so. And that's, ask any IU fan. You think that sounds crazy to the
They said that
outsider?
Preseason, which I disagreed with, but
he's been nails, absolute nails.
I'll take TJD still.
I mean, I would too.
Chat Mob round 1. Who's got it?
I do. And I will start with you, Kai. Question from Pat Taylor. Tulane at South Florida. Tulane's been really kind of sneaky good. They pulled out that crazy overtime cover on Saturday, hitting a buzzer beater to send it to OT and then winning by 9.
We like those.
Yeah, we
love those.
They're few and far between, but we'll take it. South Florida, really struggling. What do you think?
I think it's a little short, 3.5 here. I lean towards Tulane. They can score. They're never going to give up at the end of games. I lean their way. Love Ron Hunter.
I do too. I like Tulane. I think this team's pretty good. I think South Florida's not. Matt, in the Valley, a couple of teams that you like. One especially, I know. Bradley, your Braves. They're on the road at Southern Illinois. Is this game going to be a gross under? Do you like a side? What do you got?
The spot is an all-timer for Southern Illinois, right? We talked about how we were maybe trying to fade Wyoming after playing 3 awesome hype games in a row. It's a similar thing for Bradley, Loyola, Drake. Now they have to go to Southern Illinois. I think this is a comeback down to earth moment for a team I really like. I think Bradley is all the way legit. Just a tough spot here. I think Salukis get it done.
All right, Kai, out west, some Matt Akers. I think it was Matt that put Colorado on upset alert. They're heading to Oregon State, laying like 3 or 4 on the road. No Elijah Parquet. Oregon State's got their own injury issues, their own everything issues. What do you think?
I can't remember the exact stat, but I think Oregon State hasn't covered in like 7 to 10 games, something like that. It's been a lot. They've been terrible recently. No, I lean towards Colorado.
-4.
You don't really need to even say recently. That team's just they're 5-16 against the spread this season.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Matt, big one in the MAAC, the MAC. Iona headed to St. Peter's. Quick turnaround for Iona. They just played Monmouth. St. Peter's is the team that is closest to them in the standings, still a couple games back. Do the Peacocks close the gap, or do the Gales nearly clinch the league tonight?
I think the Gales get it done. It feels a little short, to be honest. I'm tempted to take Iona. Won the first matchup, and just the general bracketology lens that they can't afford any more losses, right? So just going down the stretch, if you're getting a spread in Iona game that's close, 5 or less, that plays closer to a pick 'em, it's probably a pretty good bet.
Yeah, Peters has been really good against the spread in conference. I believe the best ATS team in the MAC. So be wary. Matt, right back to you, because Pete wonders if there's a bigger lock on today's card than you loving Penn State at home against Michigan State. Do you love them, or are you kind of still swooning over your Sparty darlings?
So I didn't love my guy Shrewsbury, Micah Shrewsbury, head coach of Penn State, going after the Big Ten officials. I think the last 2 games they've had a pretty seismic foul disparity thing, and he's like, we just can't get a freaking call. Didn't love that. Didn't like the whole.
You don't like that?
Sort of. Nah, I didn't love that.
They also take a ton of just like bad jumpers.
They take some bad jumpers, but I guess there's some questionable calls there. It's a great spot though. Penn State at home has been awesome all year, and you're getting Sparty off the IU demolition. So yeah, I'll take the Nittany Kitties at home. Didn't officially bet it, but I can be talked into it by the mob for sure.
Penn State is 342nd in the country in free throw rate. They don't get to the line. That's not really their MO. Yeah. I kind of like the under there. I think Penn State's really starting to turn games into a grind. That Michigan game, second half, had like 25 possessions. It was insane.
I mean, look at every Penn State home game. They're all close. Like they've not been blown out at home once, and they've played great there.
Yep. Kai, in the MAC, the M-A-C, got a little revenge spot for the Toledo Rockets, who lost at Kent State earlier this year. Are you checking into Toledo Faders Anonymous? Do you think the Rockets get that big revenge with a huge win? What do you think?
Not a huge opinion here. I lean towards Toledo. One of the best ATS teams in the country still. They're incredible like they were last year. I don't want to fade them, so leaning their way.
I kind of like Toledo too. They got AJ Edu back. Not going to play big minutes, but
that is shocking. I know.
Shot blocker. Yeah, the fact that he's even like able to walk around on a basketball court is insane. I think it might be 3 ACL tears in a row.
I think it's around 3 now. Yeah, I think 4 maybe hanging up. It's like the Billy Ray Varsity Blues like concussion meter hits 0. You got to just stop playing at that point.
All right, let's do 2 more before we get back to the outline. Kai, I'm going to go to you for another MAC game. Miami, Ohio at Ohio. The Redhawks got Delonte Brown back, and they were magically competent again. Does that happen and continue today?
I do think they cover. Yeah, I think it's a little too high. It's come down 10.5. I liked it better, obviously closer to 12 at the opener. But yeah, Delonte Brown's super key for them. They didn't cover a game without him in the lineup. and he comes back and they destroy Bowling Green. I think they hang around.
Yeah, I joked on Twitter that he might be worth 30 points to the spread, and shockingly didn't get a lot of engagement on that tweet, but that's okay.
Miami Twitter silent. Tough to see it.
All right, Matt, in the SEC, a team that you typically like, South Carolina, they're headed to Ole Miss. Do you think Frank Martin and the boys get a cover?
I don't know. I watched the Ole Miss game when Mizzou played like an actual competent team. Very frustrating as an Ole Miss backer. My notes in my massive spreadsheet here just say, who the hell knows with this matchup? So I passed and moved right along. A lot of unpredictability on both sides. Certainly can't trust South Carolina, Jim. I've learned that the hard way this season. So next.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel. Just not a big South Carolina fan. All right, Kai, let's go back to the outline. Hit those 4, and I will continue to collect chat questions. Hit the like button. Hit it.
I agree, Jim. Hit the like button. Memphis at Cincinnati. Boy, Jim, Memphis is humming along here with a full roster minus Bates. So I'm saying full roster.
That's more full. That's
3 straight wins, 3 straight covers against UCF, Tulane, and Houston. Resume is getting pretty close to tournament. I'm sure some people have them in the field right now. They might need this one too. I don't know. It'd be a nice one, a Q1 win, I believe. Game 1, Memphis won by 7 with no Lomax or Williams. What do you think in this game?
I think Memphis wins again. My numbers sort of lean towards Cincinnati, but I watched that first one, Kai, and Cincinnati was out of their minds from deep. I believe they were like 16 of 33 or something like that. And it felt very fluky. Memphis kind of dominated with their size and athleticism inside. And like you said, they didn't have DeAndre Williams, and he's rather important for them.
Yep.
We basically said, and you can draw a straight line with their best performances last year and this year are when he's healthy and he's actually clicking in the lineup. So I'm leaning towards Memphis, Matthias. My number definitely leans Cincinnati because I've been high on them all year, but I disagreed with my number today. So,
yeah, that's where I was torn. The old tug of war between what's the matchup say, what's your gut say, and what's your number say. But Kai, I think my number properly prices both teams, so I'm inclined to trust it. I think I'm probably going to add Cincinnati here. I've been looking at it all day, staring at this line. It just seems like an ultimate vintage Memphis dud, doesn't it? Just off the spot.
Yeah.
Jim made you can argue the matchup favors. Since you could argue it favors Memphis, I think they both have good interior strength up front. So strength on strength. I call that a wash. I just like Cincinnati with the price in the spot.
My number leans their way as well. However, I'm not sure I want to step in front of this Memphis team. Hey, side note, in that first game, Monty Bates had 12, 7, and 6 in 21 minutes off the bench. He played really well against Cincy. Obviously not a factor in this game. The Bearcats have to hit shots from the outside. They're actually a pretty good shooting team this year, which is unlike Cronin, Cincy teams of yore. And Memphis is weirdly last or 10th, rather, in three-point attempt rate allowed defensively. They don't get out on shooters. Strange. It's almost like they're not well coached. I do think it's Memphis's game at -3, but again, my number lean towards the Bearcats.
Yeah, Kai, all 4 of our field of 68 bracketologists had Memphis on the inside of the field after the win at Houston. So big needle mover there.
Yeah, good for them. That's one of those the committee probably takes into account, the players out of the lineup. Who knows? We'll see. Utah State at San Diego State. Of course, we're going to talk about the massive Mountain West game. Jim, Viejas should be rocking. I thought San Diego State was a bargain under 5. Now it's too high. This team, though, very much in the bubble. Not all the way in, I don't think, like Memphis is. And this would be a big Q2 win. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't love their resume at all. Looking at it's
gross.
Like, yeah. I kind of think Utah State has the goods to stretch out the pack line. They've got bigs that can invert the floor. Their guards can shoot. I like being able to stretch it out and go a little 4 or 5 out against the pack line like San Diego State's. However, Brock Miller's still not back. Sean Bairstow's still banged up. He did play, but that's a question. Matt Bradley also potentially banged up. He got hurt late in the last game. We'll see if he's full go. That's real bad for the Aztecs. So I'm actually leaning towards Utah State against the market where it's at right now, Matt, but I'm not betting this game.
Yeah, if I had a healthy Matt Bradley, I would take San Diego State. I think 5's a little cheap at Viejas, but I mean, he is, for an offense that really struggles to produce points consistently, he's huge. So yeah, I'll stay away, Kai. Under, over. I was looking at the total. It was a little bit low, 128, been bet up to 129. I kind of like the over, actually. I think this game plays a little faster than the market indicates.
I don't like without Matt Bradley at all because San Diego State's offense is terrible with him in the lineup. Yeah. And both defenses are very good. It's going to be like San Diego State's offense is playing volleyball against the glass. But San Diego State lost that first game of 15 without Rylan Jones for Utah State.
Blowout. Yeah.
Blowout.
Yeah,
I think they return the favor here. I do lean their way in this game. Bradley, those huge. If he's out of the lineup, I don't like him.
Yeah.
Wake Forest against Matt's Dukies. Matt didn't go to Duke, but he likes Duke. Wake Forest is still a double-digit dog. Plus 10. Come down slightly, Matt. Tough home loss for Wake to Miami. And then Duke, 2 expected wins after that Virginia debacle here. I think this spread's a touch high, but what do you think, Mr. Dookie?
I think it's actually a touch low, but I am not playing it because, I'm not playing it at all. I think the early money that's brought it down from 11 to now 9.5 at most places is agreeing with my gut, which tells me that Forbes in a rematch has a major edge over Coach K, who has basically taken his hands off the steering wheel from a coaching perspective this season. So that concerns me, Jim, because Wake will certainly not be overwhelmed by Duke's speed and athleticism on the wing. They got that in spades as well. So I don't know. I'm again one of another vintage price versus gut tug of war where I'm torn. So I'll stay away.
Yeah, I actually kind of like Wake Forest here. I think we talk about Duke games, and I've said this. I think Duke games are about Duke and whether they're going to be fully engaged. They've already blown out this Wake Forest team. They're coming off 2 blowout road wins, and the game ahead on their schedule is the revenge spot with Florida State, where they lost in overtime. So I think we get a little bit of a sleepy. I saw somebody in the chat mention Wake first half, and I kind of like that because I think that's where Duke is really not engaged. And maybe in the second half, they hit the turbo and get that run where the crowd is all on their feet. But I'm leaning towards Wake. I think they compete here, especially in the first half. So the Deeks for me.
Yeah, Duke did win that first game by 12. They're up 20 on the road. No Monsanto in that game. We've talked about has been huge for Wake Forest. He's in the lineup now. And Wake's size up and down the roster. I don't think Duke's accustomed to seeing like-sized teams. I think they might struggle with it in this game. Banchero's a matchup issue. I'm not sure Mark Williams is, though. Dallas Walton's a pretty big dude down there for Wake. I lean Wake at double digits here. Nothing strong on that, but I'm against you. I lean towards Wake Forest.
Here's just one more kind of jab at K. I don't get why the minute splits between Mark Williams and Theo John are so equitable. Like Mark Williams is a monster. Like Theo John's a physical monster, but Mark Williams needs to be playing every minute that he possibly can. Dude changes the game completely. Keep him on the court. Done. Rant over. Next.
I agree with you. Big 12. We'll finish this off here. Iowa State is at TCU. And Iowa State right now, folks, 3-9 in the Big 12. But Jim likes the under.
No. This is my trajectory of Iowa State.
Yeah, it's true. But look at their resume. 7-7 Q1 games and 0 bad losses. Probably a tournament team right now. TCU is not far behind. The same amount of Q1 plus Q2 wins for them. TCU won at Hilton. Jim, Iowa State, do they get one back here? Do they stop their 4-game skid?
TCU winning at Hilton is what spooked me on this. But yeah, Iowa State's resume is great. Their current form is horrendous. Very bad. I think TCU, I almost made this my best bet. I was considering -3.5 there just because of the form that Iowa State's in. Mike Miles looks a little healthier. They did lose last game, but I kind of like TCU. They have not lost 2 in a row yet this year. I kind of trust Jamie Dixon to make adjustments off losses. I don't know, Matt. I'm a little spooked of the revenge factor and how far can Iowa State fall.
Yeah, there was a dude who kind of off his rocker said that Iowa State is not a top 50 team. And look at the current rankings. And I see Iowa State at 45th. Kind of creeping to the wrong side of 50. That guy he may have been on something. I like TCU as well. I watched that Texas Tech game over the weekend. That's notoriously a house of horrors for the Horns/Horny Frogs. Got run out of the building second half. I think they get it done. You're right, Jim. I like Dixon coming off a loss against an Iowa State team that I think has not like a low floor, but I think the floor could get they could lose the rest of these Big 12 games. I'm just not liking this team at all. Trista Interim is back tonight. I guess that's a feather in the cap of the Clones, but don't like the way this is going for the Clones.
TCU was up 37-28 at Texas Tech, and then they were down 68-47. The old 40-11 run.
They're off.
I was almost predicting they're going to start. I was going to predict there as I sort of tiptoed around it. Didn't really want to commit to it. I was going to predict Iowa State loses the rest of their Big 12 games, but they do have West Virginia at home, who appears to be a dumpster fire in their own regards. So they'll probably notch one there.
I'm worried about Iowa State's offense here, so I kind of like the under as well. 0.68 points per possession. They're 3 for 26 from deep in that first game against TCU. That probably improves a little bit. And the turnover factor, it's bad on the other end for TCU. Their offense hasn't been great. Iowa State's defense, not as good as it once was in the non-con and early Big 12 conference slate, but still a scrappy team. I think they can scrap here, get this win on the road. I lean towards Iowa State. Chat Mob round 2, then best bets. Jim, what do we got for questions?
Let's do it. I don't know if I'm just not getting enough sleep lately, but my eye is just twitching like crazy. It's really
probably
frustrating. It's probably part of it. Yeah. All right. From the Renzo Bros in the MAC, Kai, Eastern Michigan headed to Central Michigan. We had a little pre-show discussion about how good CMU has been lately. Covered 6 of their last 8. Yeah. What do you think?
I like Eastern Michigan. They've had some tough games lately. They have not been covering a lot, but I think they're the better team here. And I lean their way. Yeah. Nothing scientific.
I love that our pre-show discussions are, we lead off with CMU, just kind of puts into context.
How do you feel about the Chippewas lately?
I think it's a nice ball club, Jim.
The Colonial. Hofstra at Elon. Elon's definitely struggled a little bit lately. No Gillens Butler in the lineup. No Torrance Watson's been big. What do you think?
I wanted to make this like minus 15, to be honest. I think Hofstra kills him. Sorry to our guy, Jeff Kalakin, Elon alum. Love the Phoenix, just don't like how they're playing. And Hofstra is still my darling number 2 behind Towson in this conference.
Hey, Elon hasn't been that bad lately. The Towson loss, throw it away. They beat JMU. They beat UNC Wilmington. They lost by 2 to Charleston.
A home run spot. Wilmington was a home run spot. Right now. Everyone beats JMU right now. Exactly. I can nitpick redline at all those games.
What about Wilmington
Elon right now?
Wilmington?
That was an all-time spot. All-time spot. Perfect spot. Juicy spot.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Well, disagreement.
Give him some credit. Give him some credit.
They haven't been.
I'll give it credit when it's deserved. I'll give credit when it's deserved.
All right, a 2-pack on the.
It's a meritocracy here. We're not giving out. We're not Oprah here. You get out. No. You got to impress us to get some love on this program.
They beat the best team in the league.
Whatever. Sorry, Jim.
By conference record.
We'll sidebar later. We'll
sidebar.
All right, Kai, you get Liberty at North Florida from the A-Sun here. Liberty's actually back in the league, back in the lead in the league due to Jacksonville State missing some or taking some L's. I agree with Matt. Over.
What did you do?
Over. I pointed to the clouds.
Yeah, I guess. So Jose Placer and Hendrickson have been out of the lineup for North Florida last game. Didn't matter. Maybe they just don't matter. I don't get it. I thought Placer was the best player. He doesn't seem to matter. So I have no real lean on the side here. The total over lean seems good.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with them either because they were missing they were missing those guys for a couple games recently and played well. And it just
Hendrickson and Placer,
I think over Liberty's been playing faster in conference. They can knock down shots. Lean to that. The other one, Matt, High Point at Longwood. Longwood coming off a rare loss in league play, their first of the season. Do they bounce back?
I wanted to back High Point here, but I think the spot scared me away. I know I've been shutting the extra boards, but I've been glancing at them, guys, and a few spreads have popped out the last few days. This one was one of them. High Point's team I liked preseason. I think they're going to start to trend up toward the end of the year, but again, Longwood off the loss. Can't fade them.
All right, what else we got here? Another one in the MAC. A lot of games in the MAC tonight from Ryan Abramowitz. Akron at Western Michigan. Matthias, Western Michigan finally played well last game after I've been avoiding them. What do you think tonight against Akron? Side and total we had questions about.
Sort of a confounding result. Like BR Despite only played 15 minutes in that game, which I feel like him and Lamar Norman are their entire team. Like without those dudes, they're basically not competitive. They may as well be a D3 team. But yeah, had a good game finally. I don't know if I want to back him again here. I do think the spread was a little high though. What's it at? Like up to 9 or something? Yeah, 9. I think it's a little high.
Yeah.
It's a little high for a road favorite.
Feels a little high.
I don't like Akron. I'm shorting Akron still.
Matt, we're finishing up the MAC with you because Adam Jones specifically asked to be taking your Cardinals, your Ball State Cardinals at home against Northern Illinois.
I actually didn't bet it. I lied. I think I told someone in the chat I bet earlier. I did not bet this. Ball State as a favorite does not sit as well with me as Ball State as a dog. And the fact that Northern Iowa lost at home to them earlier this season. So just a couple of spot concerns, maybe stay away. But when in doubt, back my Cardinals.
Kai from Austin Rayleigh out west, San Jose State at Nevada. Nevada had that great performance kicking Utah State's booty. San Jose State's been struggling with their roster. They don't have Diallo still. They did get most guys back last game, though. Anything for you here?
Not Trey Smith, though. I believe he's kind of a new guy that's been out last couple games. He matters quite a bit, I think. I lean towards Nevada. I think San Jose State's really, really spiraling down the drain, and Wolfpack are starting to play better. And heck, preseason, we thought they'd be really good. So it makes sense they're playing better.
Nevada's being priced like San Jose State last year or something right now. It's kind of a little ridiculous.
Oh, you think it's too high? San Jose State's terrible.
No, my point is I think Nevada's a good buy low. I'm with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
did you know that make sense? Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on your side.
Okay. It implied you thought the spread was too big.
You two are cute.
Sorry, too short. I said
they're playing again on Thursday at San Jose State.
Yeah, that's a notable thing.
That's a big on the spot. Okay. From Tim Kafer, VCU at Fordham. Kai, I'm going to give a side take, and maybe you can hold off on your total take. I think VCU is the spot here, but you have to know about Quisenberry, Fordham's best player. They're already down Antonio Day. If he's not in there, then I do like VCU. But without him, or excuse me, if he does play, I'll probably end up staying away. Do you want to give your best bet now, or do you want to wait?
Yeah, my best bet is the under in this game. I don't think Quisenberry is going to play. I don't know for a fact because this team's not covered very well. But if he's out, he's their leading scorer. Their offense is terrible even with him in the lineup. So without him, it gets even more dire. They're going to get superior defense in VCU. VCU's offense isn't very good. Fordham's defense is pretty solid defensively. I think the efficiency is going to be pretty low in this game. If Quisenberry's out, huge bonus. So under 124.5 is my best bet.
Love that, Kai. If Quisenberry's out, I'm all aboard that choo-choo train. Matt, in the ACC, we've got NC State headed to Georgia Tech. Did we know that NC State's in last in the ACC?
They've been really bad.
Yeah, they've been bad. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. 10 non-covers in a row, I think, something like that.
Yeah, my only notes here in this game was battle of the ACC uglies. I don't know. If you bet this game, my question is why, really? It just feels
maybe it's because
completely random game.
They're betting NC State is continuing to be terrible. I kind of understand that.
But it's Georgia Tech. I'm not rushing to my bookie to lay money on Georgia Tech though either.
All right, Kai from G Martinez, Wyoming at New Mexico. Wyoming laying about a touchdown on the road here. They've been just a
too high
wagon lately.
It's too high.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Matt. I think it's too high. Do you agree?
Down to 5.5. Probably start leaning towards Wyoming. Yeah, I'm kind of like in the all right, Wyoming, you're never going to play a bad game again. Okay, I get it. So leaning towards Wyoming.
Yeah, a lot of what they do is repeatable. The post-up stuff, teams just don't have guys to stop Maldonado and Ike.
And New Mexico certainly does not. Yeah, matchup concerns are pretty bad.
Ike could have 35 and 20. In this game.
On 15 shots. Yeah.
Matt, you called last game the ACC Uggos. This is the ACC injured and now Uggos. This is Clemson at Florida State. Florida State is pathetic. I mean, what they did at UNC was sad. Do you have anything on this game?
No, another one where I think there's too many teams in college basketball in general. So at this point in the year, about 50 of them are too injured or too erratic to get a handle on their game-to-game roster. I have them on the skip list, both these teams. So this was an easy pass for me, Kai. Florida State -1.5 feels a little short, though. I guess if I have to have a commentary on this game, I would lean Knowles.
You don't have to have a commentary.
No, we do. Yeah,
I think Clemson's looked a lot better without Tyson in the lineup than Florida State's looked without Polite in the lineup. So if that's fair, the personnel, Clemson
I agree with
definitely.
That.
Yeah.
I agree with
that. They should get David Collins back from his suspension, which certainly helps.
What was Collins doing on that, by the way? We talked about that.
We talked about it. Yeah.
Okay. Malicious.
Very bad.
Yes.
From Hot Dog, Florida at Texas A&M. Texas A&M trying to stop the skid, Kai. Man, they have really, really struggled lately. Florida needs this to stay in that bubble conversation. I'm souring on their resume. What do you think?
Honestly, I thought the spread was kind of nuts. +1 for Florida. I think they should be favored. And I know they haven't been that great lately, but Appleby might be out even.
Yeah, Appleby's the big question mark for Florida. Yep.
I don't think it matters that much. I lean towards Florida here. They need to stay in the tourney picture.
Remember when A&M was 15-2 overall and 4-0 in the SEC?
Now
Paper Tiger.
15-10. Yeah.
4-6. Yeah, not great.
I lean towards Florida too. I think A&M was the house of cards that we have seen them be.
And it's collapsed.
Yeah. Matt from the Paris, UC Irvine headed to UC San Diego on the West Coast. Anything in that game for you?
The Tritons, as they're not called, I like calling them that though. They were 0-3 against Irvine last year. I think it's a bad matchup, Jim. I backed UCSD against Santa Barbara 2 games ago, and that game was over within 1 minute. So I'm a little bit shook to back him again, but my number does favor them. So I lean UC San Diego.
We had a question about Indiana State at Missouri State. I think a couple people asked about this. I can't touch Indiana State. I've watched that team recently, and they look like they have quit on the year. They are the sloppiest team, at least in the last few weeks. Like, they'll just be dribbling, and they will hand the ball to the other team. So I have no interest in trusting them against home Missouri State, who can actually go nuclear and go on 15-0 runs.
And who lost to the Sycamores earlier this year too. So like, and Missouri State, kind of like the Duke thing, Jim, I think they kind of dictate their games with energy and spots. And so while it feels like a sleepy home spot, maybe for Missouri State, the fact they lost that in Terre Haute gives me a little bit of pause.
Yeah, that's a good call. Micah Thomas was out last game with a non-COVID illness. If he's out,
yep.
Indiana State really struggle. So lean towards Missouri State there. Okay. What else do we get? Temple. Do we talk Temple? I don't think we talked Temple.
Hoot.
Maybe they don't play today. Okay.
Don't play today. Right.
Someone mentioned it. Ryan N asking about Merrimack and Sacred Heart. I don't have anything on that game at all. I made the spread like exactly what it was, and I shrugged and moved on.
Yeah. Take Sacred Heart. Merrimack's not making the shots they made last game again, right? There's no way that's sustainable. They won by 15 over Wagner in overtime. Like, that's not even
22-7 in overtime.
I believe they scored like 2.3 points per possession in overtime. And I'm not exaggerating. I think it was 2.3. They had a bunch of threes, had an and one, and did not have an empty possession.
I'm adding Sacred Heart right now. I'm adding the Pilots.
You are
good call. Good discussion, guys.
Oh, man. All right.
It's sitting at -1 at BetRivers. Thank you, BetRivers, for that friendly line. I'm adding right now $1 million.
All right. I think that is it. Guys, I mentioned my best bet is Kentucky +1.5 at Tennessee. And Matt, the game that we haven't covered, give them your best bet.
What is my best bet? I'm blanking. Literally forgot my best bet. Oh, Minnesota, not Homa Soda, Kai. It's Roma Soda. That doesn't quite work, but we're going to make it work in this
Roadie Soda
spot. Road Soda.
Yeah.
Headed to Buckeye Land, taking on Ohio State, coming off that big win against Michigan. Certainly seems to enable potential flat home spot. Minnesota is starting to, I think, show its true colors in terms of its talent deficiencies. Like, Ben Johnson can only do so much with what he has. I still think 13 is too many for a road conference game, given where we're at in the season. Saw a couple people in the chat like the over. I think this plays a lot more low scoring than the total indicates. So I like the under, which correlates typically with underdogs. Minnesota +13. Ugly, closer than expected.
Closer than the experts think.
Than the experts say.
Yep.
And my best bet was VCU Fordham reminder 124.5.
Boom.
That does it.
Wraps it up. Yeah.
We're done, guys. We're done. Tomorrow we're back with another show, 12 Central, 1 Eastern, etc. Thank you for joining us, BetRivers. Thank you to you. You are our sponsors of this show, Field of 68. Thank you so much for putting this on. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck with your bets today and enjoy a fantastic